What's up, y'all? Back again today with a very special video. I know it's been a little while since I've uploaded, and I appreciate your patience. I know there's a lot going on right now in the world, so I'm not going to take too much of your time, but I just kind of want to give my perspective on what's been going on for the most part. I can't cover everything because there's just too much going on. And so I just want to start off by saying the reason I haven't uploaded, and I started my YouTube channel about a year ago, and I made a commitment to upload at least once every week to 2 weeks. So if you go down my timeline, I have a video at least once every week, once every 2 weeks, multiple videos in a month, but I haven't uploaded in 2 months, and it's basically because I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm just like completely drained of all energy, really. Um, I'm just drained of all of my spiritual, emotional energy, you know. And when I say drained, I don't mean I don't have any left, but it's just like gas, right? Like say you have a full tank and you're just driving anywhere you want to go because you know you got a full tank. But then when you get to the E sign comes on, the empty sign comes on, you gotta choose very wisely where you go. You gotta try to choose shortcuts. You might not be able to just take that joy ride you want to. You might not be able to take the long route. You might have to stay home a few days until you have enough resources to get gas again, to fuel up. So if you understand my analogy, you understand I'm saying that I don't I'm not completely out of gas, spiritual gas, but the E sign was on for a very long time. And so I have to choose what I expand my energy on. So, um, so yeah, that's why I haven't uploaded in a while, because I'm just exhausted from all the stuff that's been going on in the world, and it feels like not too many people are hearing me. So I don't want to just waste my energy in vain. But I know that some people are hearing me. I have almost 800 subscribers, which is pretty cool. And in my absence, I've had a few people message me and ask me where I am, why I haven't uploaded. And I go on YouTube a lot. Maybe even if I'm not uploading, I'll be on other videos a lot. And some people will comment on my comments and say, "Hey, Jay Lethal, man, where you been? I love your videos. Don't stop making videos. I saw your blackface video, or I saw this video, I saw that video. Keep it going, man." And my last video that I uploaded is almost at 10,000 views. It's called Asking White People About Racism in 2017. So I made a little documentary, if you will, going around asking random white people about racism in 2017. And this was actually before the whole Charlottesville fiasco. So it was a little calmer climate. But since the Charlottesville fiasco, if you don't know, it was basically a protest with quote-unquote Black Lives Matter and white nationalists, and this huge clashes and fighting, and someone got ran over by a car. Then that revved up the racial tensions. And so yeah, that happened. And I haven't made a video since then. And then right after the Charlottesville thing happened, there was an eclipse, a full eclipse of the moon, or the sun, should I say. And then a few days later, one of the most hugest hurricanes in American history happened. And I live out here in Houston. And Hurricane Harvey, which is which was named the largest, the most rainfall in American history, happened to us. We had 4 or 5 days of just straight rain. And when I say rain, it's not just, oh, it's raining outside, let's grab a nice cover and watch some Netflix movies. No, this was rain, like catastrophic rain, where you're like, I don't want to see water again. I don't ever want to see water again in my life. They say it rained more in 4 days, there was more rainfall than we usually get in the whole year. So there was flooding. People got displaced from their homes. Me and my coworkers were out of work for about a week. And even to this day, a number of my coworkers had to move because a lot of the places where they were at was flooded. 3 feet of water in their homes. They lost power. And then, there's this thing called black mold, and, you could get sick from staying in your house if it got flooded. And coincidentally, I was living at a place called Pearland, which is a suburb on the outskirts of Houston. And I was living in Pearland for nearly almost 10 years. And a few months after I moved from there, the hurricane came. And when I watched footage of Pearland online, it shows that Pearland got completely flooded. And the house that I was at got completely flooded. And so, coincidentally, or just by whatever happenstance, or in my belief, it was God's protection on my life, that I was staying in a place for 10 years that never got flooded, and then a few months after I moved, the whole place was flooded. So that's another thing that I had to be thankful for. So all these things, if you notice, have just been happening and happening. I haven't made videos about it, and my phone was broken for a while. As you know, I make videos on my phone. Right now, I'm just in the car chilling. And I wanted to actually make a documentary about Hurricane Harvey, because right after Harvey, a lot of military vehicles came in, and it was just, it was really weird. And I wanted to show some footage of some of the military tanks I saw that came in, and the rescue efforts, and people being evacuated, and people being in shelters, water up to my knees. But all this whole time I was taking mental notes about what's been going on. And I just know that it was definitely something crazy. Now, here's where I have to give my opinion on the things that have happened thus far. Because let's just not forget, it wasn't just that hurricane. It was that hurricane, then Hurricane Irma, which came and, really devastated Florida. Then they had 3 different back-to-back earthquakes of catastrophic nature in Mexico, which have killed hundreds, and children have died in Mexico. And then Hurricane Maria, which recently came through and completely has devastated Puerto Rico. So people are running around like, oh my God, what's happening? What's happening? And this is where I can't just give you fact, but I have to just give my opinion, which online is filled with people's opinions, so take it with a grain of salt. But I have to truly say that I believe that, God's hand is in all of this. Now, when I say God, of course, there's going to be this huge debate, and people are going to call me crazy or whatever. You can say whatever you want, but I truly believe that there is a God, there is a higher essence, a higher nature, a higher consciousness that has ordained our existence, and also ordains our lives, and ordains the things that go on in our lives. And I believe that there is a certain law, a certain universal law that isn't necessarily only written in the Bible, although you can find many of that universal knowledge in the scriptures. But there's a universal law that even the animals follow, that as human beings we're not following. We're not following the code of nature. So, as human beings, we've labeled ourselves as the most important, the most supreme, the most intellectual, the most advanced form of creation, above all of the animals, above the birds, the bees, the dogs, the monkeys, the elephants, the dolphins. We've named ourselves the highest for whatever reason on the totem pole. But however, we never take into account or realization that there actually comes some sort of responsibility that goes along with being the best, or being the greatest, being the highest. How can we just label ourselves as being the highest and not take on any responsibility or any sacrifice, any commitment in order to prove that, and in order to, furthermore, to take care of the things that we label ourselves higher than? How are we higher than these animals and we can't take care of them? When you're higher than something, shouldn't it be your duty to make sure that something that's lower than you or not as advanced as you can also survive and thrive? But that's just my personal opinion. So as I said, I've just been so drained because in the background of all these hurricanes and earthquakes, and there were catastrophic fires in Los Angeles, my hometown of Los Angeles. There's catastrophic fires in Los Angeles. There was in Portland and Colorado. In the background of all this, we have political connotations that are going on that are very frightening to some people. So, for instance, our president, Donald Trump, and yes, he is our president, Donald Trump, has been going at it with the leader of North Korea, and they've been giving threats back and forth about nuclear war, nuclear destruction, and World War III. So if it wasn't enough that we're being literally overwhelmed with natural disasters, then we turn on the news and now we have to worry about man-made missiles being dropped on our heads. Mind you, this is all pretty much next to the fact that we have our daily lives going on. So we have to try to survive and be happy and thrive and give our children some form of hope and optimism while we're working 40 hours a week or more, while we're dealing with bills, while there's floods and hurricanes and fires, while there's nuclear destruction looming over our heads. And just this morning I woke up and I heard there was a mass shooting in Las Vegas. This morning, I just woke up and I'm like, I get on my news feed, I'm like, scroll. Mass shooting, hundreds injured, 50 plus killed. Gunman opens fire on concert goers. And I'm just like, that's just more energy being taken from me. It's just draining. Like I said, it's just so draining, really, really, really. And now all over my time feed, they're pray for Las Vegas, pray for Las Vegas. And here's where I have to give my opinion again. And, like I said, I'm pretty drained. So at this point, I used to care. Oh, I shouldn't say that. But now I really don't care, okay? You're going to say what you say about me in anyway. Pray for Las Vegas. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't pray for Las Vegas, because we should pray for everybody. That's the thing. You shouldn't just have to pray for somebody when they're going through something. Pray for somebody when they're doing good, that they can continue to do good. Pray for somebody that doesn't believe in God or doesn't know about God. Okay? So, but I find irony in the statement, pray for Las Vegas, when Las Vegas is literally named Sin City. Las Vegas literally is known as a self-title that they've put on themselves as Sin City. So a city that has named itself Sin City is now saying, pray for me. I find that slightly ironic on multiple levels. Furthermore, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So when you're doing your dirt in Vegas, you're supposed to not talk about it. But when something bad happens in Vegas, now let's all talk about it and let's pray for this city of sin. See, now we have to understand where scripture comes into play here, okay? Because some people will say, oh, the Bible is just meant for control. The Bible was given to us by white people to try to keep us oppressed. The Bible is just a fairy tale book. I've heard everything, okay? But I haven't heard too many people actually say that they actually read the Bible. Now, I'm reading the Bible. I can't say that I'm completely done, but I started from Genesis and I'm already in Job. And I take my time diligently reading it, okay? So what I read about this place called Sodom and Gomorrah, these two places called Sodom and Gomorrah, is that there was a place basically full of sin that loved their sin that knew they were sinning, and God brought destruction on them because there were no righteous people there. And what we have to understand about the God in the scriptures that's told to us is that God's judgment is sometimes very, very harsh. And some people will label that as him being an evil God or a vindictive God or something of that nature. But we have to understand what righteous judgment is, righteous chastisement is. I don't know if any of you got whooping when you were younger, but sometimes we deserve to be whooped. Sometimes we deserve to be put on punishment, time out. We have to get our TV taken away, not be able to go outside, not be able to talk to our friends. We sometimes deserve to be punished. And it's not for the child to decide how harsh the punishment is from the parent. Now, of course, there's abuse. There's the thing where you don't deserve it, anything, this punishment. You haven't done anything wrong, and now your parent got drunk and is just wailing off on you. That's abuse, and that's a different story. But God is not an abuser. God is a God of righteous judgment. So when we talk about karma, there's no such thing as karma. There's a such thing as God's judgment, and God's judgment will find you whether you're good or bad. So this means if you are a good person and you take your time to do good deeds, God will reward you. Maybe not in the sense that you think or in the time that you think you'll receive your reward, but God will reward you for good deeds. Likewise, God will reward you in a different connotation for your bad deeds. So I'm not saying that the people in Las Vegas deserve to be killed or shot at or scared. But what I am saying is that, and hear me very, very, very carefully. And please understand where I'm going with this. A city that names itself Sin City cannot turn around and ask for prayer when you bathe in sin. Very similar to the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, as I mentioned. You cannot take pride in your sin, and then when you are rewarded for your sin, or when you face the consequences of your sin, for the thing that you transgressed against, now you're asking for forgiveness. Now you're asking for prayer and salvation. That's not how God works. That's just like you have a kid, he did something that you told him not to do 1,000,000 times. You talked to him about it 1,000,000 times. He does it again. Now, when you decide to punish him, no, don't punish me. Don't punish me. I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry. You have to show you're being sorry. You have to show that you need forgiveness. You can't just call it out because now you're desperate. So this is what I'm talking about. There's many different things going on that has me drained, but I just felt like finally I need to speak out. There's just too many things going on. And this goes back to what I talked about, the hurricanes and the fires, the floods, the earthquakes. Many of us are living contrary to the nature in which we were made. So now God's judgment is upon us. Now that might sound scary to some people, and frankly it should sound pretty scary because we don't know when God's going to stop punishing us. Does the child know how long a parent is going to punish them for? No. And furthermore, to take it back to the analogy of a parent and a child, if you are the child and your parent says, okay, you're on punishment for 2 weeks, can you come as the child and say, okay, mom or dad or grandma or guardian, it's been 3 days. I know you said I'm on punishment for 2 weeks, but it's been 3 days and I'm kind of tired of being on punishment now. Can you take me off? I've learned my lesson. No, your parents said 2 weeks, and I don't care if you feel like you've learned your lesson after 3 days or anything. 2 weeks is the sentence. If you don't have children, let's think about a scenario with the government. If you rob a bank and you are sentenced to 10 years, and they say you will serve every day of this 10 years, can you come to the government or to the police or to the prison warden and say, okay, I know I robbed that bank, and I know you said 10 years, but it's been 3 years already, and I'm ready to be out of jail? You can't do that. So If you can't do that with man, what makes you think you can compromise with God? Especially if you haven't humbled yourself and submitted and truly understood you're wrong. You're just trying to get out of the punishment. You haven't understood why you've been put in punishment in the first place. You understand? So this is why we have to understand the nature of what I call God, what we call God. It's not some man, and I've said this a million times, it's not some man in the sky. It's not some man sitting on the clouds with a beard and a lightning bolt, and he's just doing things, and he has a big book with that's what man has used to interpret the unimaginable. We cannot imagine how great and how grand the scheme of God is. So we had to try to simplify it to the least common denominator of what human and what child, because that's what we really are, children, what we could understand. So this is why they've painted God as a man on the clouds. Because just like a man that would be sitting on the clouds, he can have a bird's eye view of what we're doing down here. But it's not even a man, because the only thing that makes a man really technically a man is a penis. God doesn't need a penis. What does God need a penis for? What does God need a vagina for? God's not a man or a woman. I've heard people say the black woman is God. How? How is the black woman God? How is the black man God? Now, we are manifestations of those feminine and masculine principles that are everlasting and ever present in God. God has feminine and masculine principles, but it doesn't have a vagina or a penis. Okay, so it's just easier to say him or her. But we have to understand that God is so much greater and grander than we could ever imagine. And with that knowledge, we must say, God, I understand how grand you are. You are so grand that I can't even begin to fathom your glory. So with that being said, I humbly submit as the lesser vessel. Because again, as human beings, what do? We're so busy talking about we're greater than all these animals. We're greater than everything. We're greater than everything. We're cloning things, and we're trying to make stem cell research and make robotics and all these technological advances and medical advances that basically try to simulate what God does naturally. But none of us are actually willing to submit, bend our knee and say, God, I understand I might be great on this realm, but I will never be as great as you. And see, that was in the scriptures, the devil's or Satan's grandest flaw. He was great. People think that the devil was ugly and the devil just a creature. Actually, they say that the devil, or Lucifer, before he was named the devil, was the most beautiful angel, the most talented angel, the most charming and subtle angel, okay? And one of God's favorite angels. But in his grandness, he forgot to do one thing. He forgot to give the glory to the person who bestowed that glory upon him. So this is why it's important to shed our ego, because the moment that you think that you are so great that you don't need God, you've lost. You've lost. This is why it's important to understand when God chastises you, it's for you to be humbled. We need to be humbled by God's glory. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. I am not ashamed to say that I've been humbled by God, and I'm not ashamed to speak God's holy, righteous name. Now, many may call it Jehovah, many may call it Emmanuel, many may call it Jesus, and this and that and the third. When I say God, you know what I mean. Let's not play semantics. Capital G, capital G-O-D. Let's not play semantics here. God is the grand scheme. God is the grand one. So people say, oh, Josh, man, people have complimented me so many times. Oh, you're smart. You're this, you're that, you're that. And guess what I always say? All praise due to God. Thank you for your compliment, but guess what? I'm a mere man that's only been, if you think that I'm great, imagine how great my God is. That he could lift me up from the dust and the dirt, and he can make me into whatever you see and whatever you admire here. This is that where we transfer our energy. They give us the glory, they give us the admiration, the applause, and the merits, and I take that and I give it straight to my God, the one who bestowed upon me the talents that you see before you. So this is why I bring up all of these natural disasters, all these terrorist attacks and rumors of wars. And, right now we have this, the national anthem debacle with the NFL, which I'm going to go into in a different video. All these racial tensions and animosities. But what I'm not seeing is us giving the glory back to God. So this is why I made this video, because yes, I'm drained. I'm just so drained, but that's how I know this is the end of days. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world, but it's the end of life as we know it. And there's going to be a new leaf and a new page turned, because I'm never just tired like that. Anybody who knows me, ever since I was in kindergarten, able to talk, I'm full of energy, full of life, full of spirit. But I've just been so drained, I can't even talk anymore. But then God told me this morning, look, man, talk. Go ahead. Speak again. Because no matter how drained I am, I'm never too tired to give the glory back to my God. I'm never too, and it's so important to me. And I cherish the fact that YouTube is even available. Because although it might have been made for different reasons, and although they try to utilize it for evil, guess what I can do? I can take my little phone and my car, my little dirty car in here, got stuff all in here, and I can just talk to the world, to anybody who may hear me. Somebody may hear this in fucking Zimbabwe, excuse my French, and they may need to hear this word. And I'm nobody. I have, like I said, 800 subscribers, but guess what? I was happy when I had 30 subscribers. When I had 30 subscribers, I said, damn, that's like a classroom full of people. I can hold a dissertation right now. Then when I got 100 subscribers, I was like, damn, that's like a college dorm room. I could be like a professor right now. Now I got 300 subscribers. I said, this is an army. All I need is 300. All I need is 299, because I'm the soldier. I'm the 300th. Then I got 800 subscribers. I'm like, all right, well, let's keep going. So some people got 5 million subscribers and some people have, but guess what? I know that everybody who clicked on that subscribe button to watch my videos, they believed in what I have to say. They're not here for entertainment. They're not here for fights. They're not here for video games. They're not here for music. They're not here for their political views. They are here because they see a real human being speaking real human life. So to everybody watching this, I just want to say, I know you're drained. I know you're tired from everything that's going on. But guess what? The one true God is watching all of us. And it's not time to give up. It's time to turn it up. It's time to turn up, because the enemy's doing his job. The enemy doesn't take a day off. The enemy doesn't get tired. So guess what? Who am I to get tired if the enemy can't get tired? And he's lesser than me. He's lesser than you. So you better turn up and make the enemy tired. Because they're trying to end this world. They're trying to end human interaction. But it's on us as the children of God. Black, white, and everything in between. And I don't care if you don't agree with me. But we're human beings. So righteousness shall prevail over even race and political party. So in these last days, I need you to stand up and speak for God and give that energy back to your fellow human being and to all the creatures of this earth. And with that being said, I love you every day, all day. And please vibrate high.